Hello, my name is Kayla Engel, and this is my reflection on our teaching unit. Just as a review for what I did for my teaching unit was my goal for my students was that they would learn that images can communicate messages without words with them, and they'd be able to creatively and deeply and reasonably determine the deeper meaning behind an image without text to support their idea. So that just means looking at images and understanding that you can understand how a character is feeling. You can understand what an ad is trying to tell you, and you can also understand the pros and cons of images in media and day-to-day life, and knowing how to identify whether you should trust those images or not. The first question I answered was how do the tasks yield appropriate evidence of the identified understandings? And so how I took this was how I know that my kids are understanding what I'm teaching. So first, I think that I can tell that they're understanding and provide some evidence is by breaking it down slowly for my students. In my lesson, I am teaching it directly to them. I am talking it out, and then I am having them help me. Then I'm having them work in groups where I'll be walking around and helping them and listening in and asking prompting questions, which kind of goes down here with this asking why questions, making sure that each student in the group is understanding. And so hopefully that will help me catch those students who are not quite understanding yet. And then also the assessment at the end, which is a formal assessment that they will be completing. They'll have a series of pictures, and then they have a brainstorming area, and then they'll have to put those ideas that they got from the pictures into words to create sentences that will make sense in order to create a story. The next question was, how do the tasks involve a complex, real-world, authentic application of the identified knowledge, skill, and understandings? One of the biggest real-world connections in my lesson was that I used pictures of familiar circumstances and logos for my children. So things like our Bueller Crusader logo, that's our school logo, our McDonald's, Walmart, things that they can easily identify, and then asking them, what do you think of when you see this? And so sometimes if they saw McDonald's, they might not just say McDonald's. They might say, oh, I think of cheeseburgers, or I think of french fries, and kind of going off of that. Also having pictures of familiar circumstances such as children playing at recess, adults talking, people arguing, people laughing, things like that, making up stories that go with those pictures. Also identifying emotions and connecting social emotional, just the basic, right now I have pictures of characters from all sorts of different Disney movies, and we determine which zone they go in. For zones of regulation, I think this would fit with this lesson as well. Showing that just an image can say a lot without words. And then going on with that, discussing media and rumors, which is a big thing in the real world, knowing what the photos that we see, what they're communicating to us, whether we realize it or not, and also remembering that sometimes photos are just photos, so we shouldn't always trust what they say. How are a variety of appropriate assessment formats used to provide additional evidence of learning? Some informal assessments that I use as evidence are we have discussion and group work and listening in, which I talked about a little bit earlier. And then formal is creating their own story with images given to them. And then additions I made for next time is I would like to have them have their series of pictures and then replace one of the photos from their story with a different one, and then have them change their story accordingly and see if they can do that to kind of mix it up and challenge them. I also think that giving them a pretest on images and what they know about their meaning and how to make them put them into a sequence of a story would be interesting. I could even do a simple Kahoot or a class discussion for that, or have a seesaw activity. And also I think I need to frequently be reviewing this by having pictures as writing prompts or as discussion points. Finally, how are students given the opportunity to self-assess and reflect upon the learning and performance? I feel like this was something I really needed to work on. So additions for next time would be students grade themselves and each other during their group project on a kid-friendly rubric. Students complete self-assessment with their final storytelling assignment, and 2 stars and a wish. So they would say 2 things they liked and 1 thing they wish they did better. And that's all. That's my 5 minutes.